There's a moment in every person's life when they look in the mirror and see a stranger. Not the person they thought they were. Not the person they hoped to become. Just a stranger drowning in their own excuses. For David Goggins, that moment came at 2 a.m. in a rat-infested restaurant kitchen, spraying roaches while weighing 297 pounds. Watching his life tick away one miserable night shift at a time. But here's what makes his story different from every other transformation tale you've heard. This wasn't about losing weight or getting fit. This was about a human being who decided to declare war on his own limitations. And in that war, he discovered something that will change how you see yourself forever. The person you think you are right now? That's not even close to who you really are. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear isn't just one man's story. It's a roadmap to the person you're supposed to become. To understand David Goggins, you have to understand that some childhoods don't just shape you, they shatter you into pieces, then dare you to rebuild yourself. Picture a 6-year-old boy hiding under his bed at 2 a.m., covering his ears as his mother's screams echo through their house. David Goggins wasn't just violent, he was a psychological terrorist who happened to be David's father. David owned Skateland, a roller rink where young David became unpaid labor. 6 in the morning until midnight, mopping floors, fixing broken skates, emptying trash, while his father's voice carved into his soul. You're worthless. You'll never amount to anything. Here's what destroys a child. When the person who's supposed to love you unconditionally becomes the voice in your head telling you that you're nothing. David, didn't you just hear these words? He started believing them. School offered no escape. In Buffalo, New York, David was often the only black face in a sea of white classrooms. Other kids drew pictures of him hanging from trees. They left notes with N-word in his locker. Teachers looked at his struggles and wanted to label him special needs. The stutter came next. Words would get trapped in his throat like prisoners trying to escape. Every attempt to speak became a reminder that he was different, broken, less than. So David learned to survive the only way he knew how. He started cheating. Not from malice, but from pure terror. Terror of being exposed as the stupid kid his father said he was. Terror of confirming what everyone seemed to already know. Then his mother, Jackie, made the bravest decision of her life. One night, she grabbed David and his brother, and they ran. No plan, no money, just 3 people escaping hell with nothing but hope. In Brazil, Indiana, something miraculous happened. His mother met Wilmoth Irving, a man who showed David what kindness looked like. For the first time, David felt safe enough to breathe. Wilmoth wasn't just Jackie's boyfriend. He became the father David never had. But at 13, David learned life's cruelest lesson. Wilmoth had a massive heart attack and died instantly. The one person who had shown him unconditional love was gone, just like that. Most kids would have shattered completely. But something different happened to David in that moment of loss. A seed of understanding. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is guaranteed. If he was going to become someone, if he was going to matter, he would have to do it himself. Fast forward to his 20s. David Goggins, 297 pounds, working graveyard shifts as an exterminator, spraying roaches in restaurant kitchens. His marriage was crumbling. His dreams were buried under layers of self-doubt and pizza boxes. Then one night, exhausted and channel surfing in his misery, he saw something that changed everything. Navy SEALs. Hell Week. Men being tortured for 130 hours straight. Hypothermia, sleep deprivation, physical agony that broke most candidates. While any rational person would think, that looks like torture, David Goggins had a different thought. That looks like home. Because suddenly, he understood. Every beating from his father, every racist taunt, every moment of feeling worthless. It had all been training. He had been preparing for Hell Week his entire life. That night, David made a decision that would define everything that came next. He was done being a victim. He was going to become the author of his own story. The transformation journey from zero to unstoppable. What happened next defies everything we think we know about human transformation. David Goggins doesn't just change his life, he obliterates his old self and builds something entirely new from the wreckage. The impossible task. First, he had to get into the Navy SEALs. One problem. He weighed 297 pounds, maximum allowed was 191. He needed to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months and pass the ASVAB test. He transformed his apartment into a monastery. Wake up 4:30 a.m., study, work, gym until midnight. Living on protein shakes and determination. The result, lost 106 pounds in 10 weeks. Passed the ASVAB on his 3rd attempt, because his life depended on it. Hell Week, the Crucible. Bud's training, where 80% of candidates quit. Hell Week is 130 hours of continuous torture. 6 days awake while instructors try to break your spirit. Freezing ocean water, 200-pound logs, complete deprivation. David didn't just survive Hell Week, he went through it 3 times. Due to medical rollbacks from injuries. Most would quit, but David saw it as extra training. Every moment of suffering in his life had been preparing him for this. All that pain had built calluses on his mind, and he became unbreakable. The Ultra Endurance Awakening. After becoming a SEAL and Army Ranger Honor graduate, 2005 changed everything. In Operation Red Wings, 11 SEALs were killed, including David's friends. To honor them, he decided to run Badwater 135 miles through Death Valley in 120-degree heat. But first, he needed to qualify with a 100-mile race. But the problem was that he'd never run more than 20 miles. He had 3 days to prepare. During the San Diego one-day race, 100 miles in 24 hours. By mile 70, his body was shutting down. Hallucinations set in, and every step felt like pure agony. But David discovered something life-changing. When your mind says you're done, you're only 40% done. He finished 101 miles and unlocked the realization that humans are capable of far more than they imagine. The pull-up record, failure to victory. The ultimate test, 4,020 pull-ups in 24 hours for the world record. First attempt on the Today Show, failed at 2,500 pull-ups while millions watching. Second attempt 2 weeks later, hands torn open at 2,900, bleeding to the dermis. Most would disappear after such humiliation. But 2 months later, at 3 a.m. in Nashville, after 17 hours of pure agony, David completed pull-up number 4,021. 3 attempts, 2 failures, 1 victory. And the lesson that defines his philosophy. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the pathway to success. When you think you're done, you're only 40% done. The question is, what's your 60%? The Goggins philosophy. Here's what makes David Goggins different from every other self-help guru. His lessons weren't born in comfort. They were forged in hell. Every principle he teaches, he paid for in blood, sweat, and unimaginable suffering. These aren't theories. They're battle-tested truths that can transform your life. 1. The 40% rule. During that first 100-mile race, when David was at mile 70 and his body was breaking down, he made a discovery that changed everything. When his mind screamed, "I'm done," when his body felt finished, he realized he was only 40% done. Your brain has an overprotective governor that stops you way before you need to stop. It's trying to keep you safe, but it's keeping you small. David planned 200 pull-ups, wanted to quit at 100, but remembering the 40% rule, he did 800 that day. Next time you want to quit, remember you're probably only at 40%. Ask yourself, what if I have more? 2. The accountability mirror. After flunking out of high school, David stood naked in front of his mirror and had the first honest conversation with himself. He wrote brutal truths on post-it notes. You're fat, you're lazy, you're a quitter. But here's the genius of the accountability mirror. He also wrote down his goals and dreams. Become a Navy SEAL. Get in the best shape of your life. Stop making excuses. The mirror became his daily court session, where he was both the prosecutor and the defendant. No lies, no sugarcoating, no gentle self-talk. Just raw, unfiltered truth. David says most people avoid this kind of honesty because it's painful. But here's what he learned. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Create your own accountability mirror. Write down your weaknesses, your fears, your excuses on post-it notes. But also write down your goals and dreams. Face them every single day until lying to yourself becomes impossible. 3. Calloused Mind. Most people see their struggles, their trauma, their failures as disadvantages. David learned to see them as his greatest advantages. During that brutal buds drill, tied up and nearly drowning with a fractured kneecap, he realized all his past pain, abuse, racisms, and every moment of feeling worthless hadn't just hurt him, it had been building calluses on his mind. Just like your hands develop calluses from hard work to protect you from blisters, your mind can develop calluses from hardship to protect you from breaking under pressure. But here's the key. You have to choose to see your pain as training, not as victimization. David says, if you choose to see yourself as a victim of circumstance, that callus becomes resentment. But if you choose to fight through horrible situations and remain open for more, you'll callous over your victim's mentality and your fears. Instead of avoiding discomfort, start seeking it out. Take cold showers. Do workouts that suck. Have difficult conversations. Every time you choose discomfort over comfort, you're building mental armor for your future battles. 4. The cookie jar. The cookie jar is a mental collection of every victory you've ever achieved, big and small. For David, it included graduating buds at the top of his class, but it also included smaller wins like learning to read, passing a test, or finishing a hard workout. When he was ready to quit those pull-ups, he pulled out the memory of conquering his fear of water. He remembered being that terrified kid who almost drowned, and how he transformed that fear into strength. That memory gave him the energy to do 100 more pull-ups. Here's the psychology. In your darkest moments, when your current challenge feels impossible, you need proof that you're capable of overcoming impossible things. Your cookie jar is that proof. 5. No finish line. Most people hit one goal and then celebrate, relax, get comfortable. David hits one goal and immediately asks, what's next? After becoming a Navy SEAL, he became an Army Ranger. After conquering ultra-marathons, he became a wildland firefighter. His motto is peaceful but never satisfied. This isn't about being unable to enjoy success. It's about understanding that growth is the point of life. Every time you achieve a goal, before you celebrate, ask yourself, what's next? 6. Embrace the suck. Pain unlocks a secret doorway in your mind. When you push through the initial panic and doubt, when pain fully saturates your mind, something remarkable happens. You become what he calls single-pointed. You lose awareness of everything except the task at hand. You enter a state of peak performance that most people never experience. The modern world is designed to eliminate discomfort. But David discovered that discomfort is where transformation lives. Every time you choose the easy path, you rob yourself of the opportunity to discover who you really are. Stop running from things that suck. Start running toward them. Make friends with discomfort. Because on the other side of everything you're avoiding is the person you're supposed to become. Here's how to live this philosophy every day. Morning. Start with your accountability mirror. Face your truths, review your goals, commit to excellence. Throughout the day, choose discomfort over comfort whenever possible. Take the harder path. Do the thing you're avoiding. Evening. Reach into your cookie jar. Remind yourself of what you've overcome and what you're capable of achieving. Before bed, ask yourself, did I give my 40% today, or did I push toward 100%? You are not the person you think you are. You are not limited by your past, your circumstances, your genetics, or your fears. You are limited only by your willingness to discover what you're truly made of. The person watching this video, that person is capable of things that would amaze you. But you'll never know unless you're willing to go to war with your limitations. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Remember, your journey starts now. The only question is, are you ready to find out who you really are?